All
The
right.
next is another one from James Fogel. I'm not going to read it because he already got suspended for his first email, and
Heh.
he submitted 2 emails this week, and our rule
Double.
is 1 email per week. So I'm not even going to read the second one. He submitted one on Saturday and submitted one on Monday. One per week, James. And I'm not going to just maybe because you didn't know this because this is your first submission, but 1 email per week. If you do two, you get suspended. So the next one's from the Four Horsemen. The subject is Athletic Blues, K100 Sports. Great talk on K100 Sports. Do you believe the athletes that are having mental issues due to criticism for playing a sport should find another profession? Why are college athletes having mental issues for criticism yet seem to have no stress or mental issues from their classes? Mental issues should never be ignored, but they are. This will sound harsh, but it's the truth. If you're due to participate in something that cause you have mental issues, it's time to shut the F up and do something else. I would agree with that. If something's causing you bad mental health, why are you engaging in it? That seems like a weird flex. What do you think, Conan?
Yeah, you're muted, bud.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. Next is from Yella Hardhat. Subject is Khan on Kingston. A few days ago, Tony Khan did a media call for AW Revolution because why wouldn't he? Good thing that the wrestlers didn't get a chance to do some publicity for a change. And Tony Khan broke the news that Eddie Kingston didn't really quit AEW as part of a storyline. That's right, folks. It's now March 2023, and Tony Khan, the Book of the Year, is still not sure. Is now still not sure that the fans can tell the difference between reality and fake. Also, I was wondering if we have Joe read out Tony Khan's quote word for word because this is honestly exactly what the grown man said. Joe, you want to read it? So basically, guys, what do
Yeah.
you think about? Okay, and so he's going to ask us about this comments.
So his comment was during his media call says, "Yeah, I've talked to Eddie since last night, and I encourage people to stay tuned to pro wrestling, stay tuned to AEW and other forms of pro wrestling. Of course, there's a lot of exciting things happening in the sport in AEW and also in our metaverse of pro wrestling, including New Japan and of course tonight the launch of the new Ring of Honor. So a lot of exciting things happening. I have had a chance to talk to Eddie about that, and I'd say stay tuned to the wrestling business, and then you'll see what happens next."
Yeah, I thought it was stupid to admit that, bro. If you're gonna if you're gonna do a work shoot, you don't go to the media scrum and say it's a work. I mean, come on.
Exactly. Why do it in the first place?
I know. Like, this is so silly, right? I
Right.
bet you he regrets that. Like he probably said, I
Probably.
shouldn't have said that, right? But he's just, bro. He's just rambling in these. He's like taking rapid fire questions from everybody, right? Next was JJ Claxton, and the subject is conversation terror. So even get a suspension. Wait, is
TikTok's
JJ?
JJ Claxton.
Wait, is JJ Claxton? Is he allowed in the mailbag? I thought we do. He didn't have a permanent suspension.
No, he's never been permanently suspended. No.
Is
He
I
might
the man
after
of
this
many?
one.
Yeah, is I
Probably.
the man of many names? JJ Claxton. Disco, as you know, many dirt sheet guys aren't willing to be a guest on K100 because of how much of a troll you're online. Even these virulent parasites tweet harmful words to you. You're willing to talk to them. You've proclaimed on the podcast that you're open-minded to talk to anyone, but is there someone in particular on God's green earth you will never have a conversation with? By the way, Disco, please make another Instagram and please follow the K100 podcast TikTok account. We have the Vicky Guerrero following the page and Ryback who should be a guest on the show. Conan, I love you. That's from JJ Claxton.
That was sweet.
No, I'll talk to anybody. I don't have serious shoot beef with anybody that I would never have I would never talk to that guy.
This is
Like
how
not
yeah.
one
This is how
guy
much
in this
Disco
business.
talks. He talks to himself. Nothing.
Right. Yeah, I don't have I would talk to
Anybody. Right. What's
Ken,
the
yeah,
big
I
deal?
don't right. I'm not people buried me before. I'll
I
still
can't
talk to
believe
them.
that
I don't
there
care.
that the gentleman. Oh, I'll never talk to him. You shouldn't talk to him.
Right.
What?
Well, a lot of people are like that. A lot of the
Yeah.
wrestlers are like that. You know. Uh, Next is from David Bentz, and the subject is No More Braun Breaker. Dear K100 crew, ever since Triple H brought back Braun Strowman in 2022, I wonder if this could affect Braun Breaker when he's called up to the main roster. WWE tends to not like multiple talents that have the same first or last name. So my question is, do you see Braun Breaker's eventual call-up being reason to ditch the name and finally be the Steiner we all know that he is? Also, Disco, I'd be curious, do fans tend to follow the promoter protocol and bumping into you in Vegas? Stay in good health, K-Dog, and that's David from Sacramento. Yes, the fans do. They do the protocol except with the direct eye contact. A lot of them make direct eye contact. I'm not a fan of that.
Right.
But having the name Braun and Braun Breaker and Braun Strowman is a non-issue They're spelled different. One's Braun and one's Bron. So I don't know. Kind of silly idea. What you got any comment, Conan?
But I just think that it's a good idea if you're going to bring them to the main roster because they do have that problem and having people having the same first name, as if that doesn't happen in every other business. But yeah, it would be a good time to affix the Steiner name to him. Take advantage of it.
I don't understand why they didn't do that to begin with.
I know.
These guys are. Everybody knows that's Rick Steiner's son.
Right.
Brock Steiner.
Yeah,
That's the guy's name.
They've made
Brock
it clear.
Steiner. Why don't you just call him Brock Steiner?
Yeah, like the Hennig kid, instead of calling him, or who was it?
They called him Michael McGillicuddy and Curtis Axel.
You could literally just call this kid Steiner.
Right.
Just one word, Steiner. And
right.
Everybody knows what that means. So that's a Steiner right there.
Right.
I know, yeah. Next is from Power Requires Hustle. That's our boy King Cole, fan of the show. Subject is King Cole. King Cole. You're speaking about yourself in third person, which I'm not particularly a fan of. The subject is King Cole.
Should I kazoo that or no?
Yeah, kazoo this because it's from King Cole.
Right,
and the subject is written out King Cold and his real life beef with Danhausen.
Right.
Yeah, Feeney doesn't like that.
Right. I'll be honest with you. I've had some weird things happen to me, but none as weird as when I noticed that Danhausen, who I've never met or had a conversation with, has me blocked on Twitter. Hell, I haven't even seen even one of his matches or interviews, not a single one. So I don't know, it kind of took me by surprise at first. Like the time I fell down and gigged myself horizontally the hard way and bled all over my Percocet duck. Hold up, this ain't Raven show. Eddie, I guess is that a clip from Raven show?
Yeah, Raven has a concept that we're going to write a story or a screenplay about a duck that Percocets. That's it's a concept that's been discussed. Yeah.
Anywho, have you guys ever had another wrestler beef with you without you even knowing it? Yeah, I've had multiple people. JBL blocks me on Twitter. I've never tweeted on his account or something. Danhausen blocks me on Twitter. So you may be getting blocked by Danhausen if you follow me, because Danhausen might be the type of person that blocks people on Twitter and blocks his followers too. So that might be why you got blocked by Danhausen. So
I am not blocked by Danhausen.
How about you, Cody? You blocked by Danhausen?
Cody,
what do you think of Danhausen?
He's a very cool guy. Yeah, I did at the beginning. I had seen him in Ring of Honor, and I was like, "What is this?"
Right.
And it wasn't funny to me.
Taste,
right, it is an acquired taste. And then I started to see more of him, and I was like, you know what? He is funny, and but his in-ring work is Limburger cheese bad.
All right. Next is from Steve Stewart, and the subject is Santos Escobar. First off, thanks for doing a great podcast. My question is, do you think Santos Escobar will be a main eventer? He cuts a good promo, he's believable, and he looks the part. Compared to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who both look like the fans in the front row. Thanks for reading. God bless the K100 cast. I don't know if he can be a main eventer like the last match on the show type guy, like the top dog. But I like his gimmick, and you can do a lot of stuff with that gimmick and a lot of vignettes and storylines. Like the narco, like I don't know. It's definitely a gimmick that has a lot of avenues and angles you could work with. So, and basically all you need is good character development to get into the main event. Like everybody's work in WWE is like nobody's work sucks. Everybody's work is solid enough that they can perform in a main event on any show. Would you agree with that, Conan?
Yeah, but let me tell you about Santos Escobar real quick. So he was my top heel in AAA, and I invested a lot of time in him. And
what was his name? What was his name in AAA again, Conan?
Hijo de Fantasma.
Got it.
And so we spoke a lot, and I'm very proud that I helped him become what he is now. And here's the other thing about Santos. And this is very important. What separates the great guys like the Eddies and the Rays and the Shawn Michaels and all that is the drive that they have. He has a different drive than most wrestlers. He's a sponge. He's a student of the game, and he wants to be a star, and he's going to be a star.
Joe, I got a new note. Okay, this next email has something that's very interesting. Okay,
all right.
from Mark. Okay, And Mark says subject is Chelsea Green equals the hottest. Solutions to the set superior one, the great KOGG, and the podcast mastermind. Now this is a name, Joe, that I think that you should use. Mr. JF Feeney 3RD. What do you think about it? Like Mr. JF Feeney the third, but the guy spells it Mr. JF Feeney 3RD.
I like that.
I can make an RVD like shirt that says 3RD.
Yeah, 3RD.
Yeah,
right.
and 6 people could buy it.
Well, that's still how much you make off that? $54 maybe, $9 a shirt.
Yeah, something like that.
Compliments. K100 Sports and Talks are both great shows each week, most because Disco always knows how to shore up the topics. Disco always remains the highlights of Russo's LGBTQ show every week, even though he isn't physically on the show due to Russo continually using his sound bites. Of course, this may be speculation. We don't know. Question. Out of all the women in this world, would Chelsea Green be one of the hottest? The UK Sun thinks so and has made the wrestling Twitter mob come out in support of Tony Storm and Jamie Hayter. The article is attached below. Let me read this. Pull this up, Joe.
All right, it's up.
Wow. Chelsea Green branded the hottest woman in the world after posting sexy. She is super hot.
Yes.
Like, I got to give it to what's his name?
Matt Cardona.
Matt Cardona. He's got a, he's a good looking guy too. I want to say like she's out of his league, but she's not out of his league. But he hit a home run with this girl for sure.
And where's the pictures of the other girls?
There's no pictures of the other girls, but the wrestling fans, because Chelsea Green is like in WWE right now, the AEW fans are all mad. And they're like coming out in defense of Tony Storm.
Wasn't she the one that was mad because people were oogling over her pictures?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
come on.
Like
really? You're going to dress like this and expect nobody to have any reaction whatsoever?
She's kind of the typical snowflake-ish, like
yeah.
Doesn't want to be objectified, but
right. And I know she's not doing this, but that looks like a thirst trap. You know what I'm saying?
Right, of course. Yeah.